Revision for grade 7 Science Inspire Exam Coverage Term 2. Number 1. Which statement is true about solid particles? The particles are less lightly packed and can move around each other. The particles are close to each other and difficult to compress. Or the particles are far apart and can move around freely. Or the particles are far apart and vibrate in their place. With the answer 1, 2, 3. The particles are close to each other and difficult to compress. True or false? A state of matter without a definite shape or a definite volume is gas. False or true? Answer is true. Which of these particles can flow between container A or B or C? With the answer B and C. B is liquid and C is gas, can flow between the container. Which of the three states of matter has more potential energy? Potential energy means the distance between particles. If there is the more distance or long distance, that means more potential energy. Liquid particles because they are farther apart from one other than gas, or liquid particles because they are close together. Gas particles because they are closer to each other, or gas particles because they are farther apart from one another. The answer is the gas particles because they are farther apart from one another. كما قلنا أن البوتنشال انرجي لا علاقة بالمسافة بين البارتيكلز. كلما كانت المسافة أكثر وهي الموجودة في الغازات معناها أن البوتنشال هي أكثر. Which of these matters have more thermal energy? Bathtub full of water at 25 Celsius, or glass of water at 25 Celsius, or bowl of frozen water, glass of water at 15 Celsius. What the answer? The answer is the bathtub full of water at 25 Celsius. Why? Because here 25 and 25, the thermal energy depends on the temperature, but the same temperature here. But the bathtub and here glass, here amount of water is more here, more than glass. إذا تعتمد على الكمية and temperature درجات الحرارة. كل ما زاد درجات الحرارة تزيد thermal energy، والكميات كل ما زادت تزداد thermal energy. Number 3 state of matter حالة المادة، لأنها تعتمد على المسافة بين البارتيكلز أو الحركة، فكل ما زادت هذه المسافة والحركة تزداد الثيرمال انرجي، وذلك يوجد في الحالة الغازية أكثر إذا ثبتنا جميع العوامل الأخرى. How many atoms of oxygen are there in chemical formula CO2? The answer is 2. Yes, because there is 2 here, subscript next to O. But how many atoms for carbon? 1, but without writing 1 next to carbon. The compound that represents the model is this model. Well, the answer HNO2, H2O2, or NH3. You can see this circle, blue circle, and this big and this small and this big red circle. This is nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen. The answer is NH3. This is ammonia, here N, nitrogen, and there are 3 atoms, hydrogen atoms. What happens to the volume of gas when thermal energy increases? No change, or decrease or increase? You can answer increase, because the thermal energy, what means thermal energy? Movement and distance between the particles. When these are increasing, the volume of gas also increase. What's the energy an object has due to its motion? Temperature, potential energy, or kinetic energy? The answer is kinetic energy. If the kinetic energy increases, that means the temperature decreases, or motion of particles increases, or the thermal energy doesn't change. The answer is motion of particles increases. There are water in the liquid state and the same mass of solid pasta in the pot are boiling. Which of them has more thermal energy? Not one of them. Solid pasta, water due to the state. Thermal energy depends on the state. Yes, water due to the state, because it's a liquid, but the solid can't move, so that the thermal energy in the water is more. When we heat under the flask, we notice the balloon will inflate because the particle collisions decreases, or thermal energy of gas increases, the kinetic energy decreases. What the answer? You can see this picture or this model. This is a flask full of gas. This balloon, you can notice the will inflate when heat under the flask. The answer, thermal energy of gas increases because the particles move away from each other, and then balloon inflate and take more volume. An increase in volume as the temperature increases is called thermal expansion, thermal contraction, or thermal energy. What the answer? Answer is thermal expansion. What do you think will happen if the boy puts the ball in the refrigerator? The ball's volume will increase. Number two, the ball's mass will decrease, or the ball's volume will decrease. What the answer? Here, the temperature. Answer, the ball's volume will decrease because the temperature in the refrigerator is low, so that the particles close from each other, so that volume will decrease. Why, when thermal expansions occurs, the balloon gets bigger? Because the number of particles will increase, or because the particles will push out or the inside surface of balloon, or because the size of the particles will increase? What the answer? Answer is because the particles will push out in the inside surface of the balloon, so gets bigger. What is the melting point? The temperature at which a solid changes to a liquid, or the temperature at which a liquid changes to a solid, the temperature at which a gas changes to a liquid. What's the melting point? Like ice cream is melting. The temperature at which a solid changes to a liquid. Yes, that's right. What will happen if the particles in the solid state is speed up and they are moved further apart? The attractive force will break, so it will be liquid, or attractive force will break, so it will be the same, or nothing will happen. What's happen here? The answer is the attractive force will break, so it will be liquid. What's the meaning? معنى ذلك أنها تتحرك بسرعة وتتحرك بعيد عن بعضها هذه البارتيكلز، لذلك فإنها هذه القوة القوة التجاذب سوف تنكسر وتصبح liquid أي سائل. When an ice melts, do we add or remove thermal energy? We remove thermal energy, or we add thermal energy, or we don't do any changes with thermal energy. Melting needs add thermal energy. What is vaporization? Is a change of state from gas to liquid, or is the change of state from liquid to gas, or is change of state from solid to liquid? The answer is it's change of state from liquid to gas. Is the particles will move faster when a vaporization happens? It will move faster because it has more kinetic energy. It will move faster because it has less kinetic energy, or it will move slower because there is no thermal energy. When a vaporization, what happens? It will move faster. The particles move faster because it has more kinetic energy. When does a substance reach its boiling point? Boiling point means here temperature. When solid particles have enough energy to overcome the attractive force, or when liquid particles have enough energy to overcome the attractive force, or when gas becomes liquid in the boiling point. The answer: when liquid particles have enough energy to overcome the attractive force. The maximum temperature of evaporation, that means boiling point, melting point, freezing point. The answer is boiling point. There is a difference between between boiling and evaporation. What's the meaning evaporation? Evaporation occurs at any temperature, but the boiling point when the particles occurs in boiling point in this temperature. ما معنى ذلك بالعربي؟ أن هناك فرق بين التبخر والغليان. التبخر يحدث بأي درجة حرارة حتى لو كان الجو بارد، ولكن التبخر يكون بطيء جدا لأنها تعتمد على درجات الحرارة، فكلما زادت درجة الحرارة يزيد التبخر. بينما البويلينج بوينت أو درجة الغليان هي أعلى درجات التبخر، حيث يحصل هناك تساوي بين ضغط الهواء ومع ضغط الجو، فإذا وصل هذان الضغطان إلى التساوي يحدث هناك الغليان. نلاحظ هناك الفقاعات وسرعة التبخر. During a change of state, the temperature might increase or decrease. Doesn't change, increase. What happened? Doesn't change. إذا هنا أثناء التحول أو التغير من حالة إلى حالة from solid to liquid or liquid to gas or gas to liquid or liquid to solid. أثناء during the changing of state doesn't change in the temperature. What is the opposite of melting? Freezing, evaporation, condensation. Melting means change the state of the matter from solid to liquid. What the opposite of this melting? Freezing, yes, because the freezing change the matter from liquid to solid. Evaporation, from liquid to gas. Condensation, from gas to to liquid. What is freezing? Change state from liquid to solid, or change state from gas to liquid, or change state from solid to liquid. Which is the answer? Which one? Change state from liquid to solid. What will happen if we remove thermal energy from a gas? It will stay the same. It will condense and a solid will form. It will condense and a liquid will form. What answer? Yes, it will condense and a liquid will form from gas to liquid. This is condensation. What is a condensation? Change from gas to liquid, change from solid to liquid, or change from liquid to solid? Answer is change from gas to liquid. What does the Boyle's law state? States that the pressure of a gas decreases if the volume decreases. States that the pressure of a gas increases if the volume decreases. States that the volume of a gas decreases if the temperature decreases. The relationship in the Boyle's law between pressure and the volume. The relationship is the opposite way. The opposite way. Where is the opposite way here? Answer. The pressure of a gas increase of the volume decreases. This is opposite increase and decrease between pressure and volume. This diagram about pressure causes in a change in and can be changed by. causes a change in this is عوامل هذه عوامل تؤثر بالبريشر وهي state of matter حالة المادة and collisions of particles تصادمات. حالة المادة لدينا هنا السوليد liquid and gas. طبعا هذه الحالة المادة لها علاقة بالجسيمات particles. فالحالة الغازية البارتيكلز as we know متباعدة وبالتالي البريشر أقل. الليكويد متقاربة لذلك البريشر حتكون أكثر. السوليد حتكون البارتيكلز حتكون متقاربة أكثر لذلك البريشر تكون أعلى. collisions of the particles تصادمات بين الجسيمات في الحالة الغازية تكون متباعدة لذلك تصادمات أقل لذلك بريشر فيها أقل من الحالة السائلة والسائلة تكون هي أقل من الحالة الصلبة. الصلبة أكثر شيء لأن الجسيمات متقاربة collisions أكثر وبالتالي البريشر أكثر. لكن هذه البريشر ممكن أن تتأثر بالفوليوم والتمبريتشر والنمبر اوف ذا بارتيكلز. الفوليوم هنا الحجم. إذا قمنا بالضغط على وعاء فهذه البارتيكلز تتقارب مع بعضها وبالتالي يكون هناك ضغط أعلى. temperature إذا زدنا التمبريتشر فهذا يؤدي إلى تصادمات أكثر فبيؤدي إلى بريشر أكثر أي ضغط أكثر. number of the particles إذا زدنا كمية الجسيمات في مكان معين فهذا يؤدي إلى تضاغط أكثر لأن البارتيكلز كما قلنا أنها مؤثر أساسي في البريشر. كلما زادت البارتيكلز تزداد التصادمات يزداد الضغط. What is the relationship between pressure and volume in Boyle's law? Inversely proportional relationship, proportional relationship, no one of them. ما العلاقة بين البريشر الضغط والفوليوم؟ علاقة inversely أي عكسية. فنلاحظ أن هناك variable changes in opposite way. Pressure if pressure increase the volume decrease. Pressure decrease volume increase. Which of the graphs is correct according to Boyle's law? Look at this graph. Pressure and volume, pressure and volume. Here inversely proportional. Here not inversely. Here and straight, not inversely. The answer is the first one. There is opposite way. The changes in opposite way between pressure and volume. Which statement is true about hydrogen fluoride? This is compound hydrogen fluoride. This is fluoride. Hydrogen ionic compound, covalent compound element. What is the correct? The covalent compound. How we know? Because there is hydrogen and here شحنات plus جزئية ولا not complete جزئية هنا and هي هنا الإشارة جزئية أيضا دائما الكوفالنت كومباوند المركبات التساهمية بوجود الهيدروجين دائما كوفالنت، فتكون لنا شحنات جزئية ليست كاملة مثل الأيونيك، وهذه الإشارة الجزئية للشحنات للذرات. Which of the following is not true about an ionic compound? Formed from non-metal elements, have extended structures, formed from opposite charges. The answer is formed from non-metal elements. That's not true. The ionic compound formed from non-metal and metal. What type of substance does the picture show? Ionic compound, covalent compound, extended structure, covalent compound. Which of following compounds are good conductors of electricity when dissolved? Covalent compounds, no one of them. Ionic compounds. The answer is ionic compounds. The substance is a solid with a dull appearance. It doesn't conduct electricity, but it will dissolve in water, and when hit with a hammer, it shatters into pieces. Which structure would you predict this substance to have? طبعا بنلاحظ هنا طبعا الأشكال مختلفة. The answer is C. هتمثل مثل السكر، بتيجي على شكل molecules وتتراكم فوق بعضها البعض، وهذا ينطبق عليه جميع هذه الصفات الموجودة: solid, dull appearance, don't conduct. طبعا لا يوصل الكهرباء، لأنها تعتبر لا تحتوي على شحنات موجبة وسالبة، وتذوب بالماء مثل السكر ويمكن كسره. أما ال A قد يغلب عليها عبارة عن metal، فهي لا تذوب بالماء الميتال. B و D هذه غاز لأنها طبعا متفرقة separate units. What is the mass, the amount of matter or particles in a substance, the amount of space of a substance takes up, the mass per unit volume of substance? The mass is amount of matter or particles in a substance. Which of these balances is a triple beam balance? Which one? The second one. What is the weight, the pull of gravity on matter, the amount of space a substance takes up, ability of matter to burn? What's the answer? The weight is the pull of gravity on matter. Does the mass change by changing the location? Yes, no, it is the weight that changes. No, it's the volume that changes. What's the answer? Is volume a quantitative property? Yes, because we can measure it. Yes, because we can observe it. No, because we can't measure it. What's the answer for this question? Yes, because we can measure it. لأن ال quantitative معناتها إنها كميات يمكن قياسها. What is the unit for volume? Liter, milliliter, centimeter cube, kilogram, gram, Fahrenheit, and Celsius. What's the answer? Liter, milliliter, centimeter cube. How can we measure irregularly shaped objects? Displacement, graduated cylinders, dimensions. What's the answer? Displacement, because irregularly shaped. When the nail rots and change its color from silver to brown orange, that is example for oxidation, flammability, reaction to acid. The answer is oxidation. When does oxidation occur? When a substance reacts with an oxidizing agent like oxygen and bleach. When a substance reacts with an oxidizing agent like silicone. When a substance reacts with an oxidizing agent like hydrogen. The answer: when a substance reacts with an oxidizing agent like oxygen and bleach, like chlorine and fluorine. Can physical or chemical properties be used to identify a substance? No, we can use only chemical properties. No, we can't use any one of them. Yes, we can use both of them to identify substance. The answer is yes, we can use both of them, chemical, physical properties to identify a substance. What is this property? Chemical property, flammability, chemical property, oxidation, physical property, flammability. Chemical properties, flammability. What is this property? Physical property, solubility, chemical property, solubility, or reactivity? Answer is physical and solubility. In a closed system, the mass of the substances before a chemical change equals the mass of the new substances after the change. What is this law? Law of the conservation of mass, law of the conservation of energy, law of the conservation of matter. What is this law? Law of conservation of mass. Calculate the mass of the substance 3 as a product. 300.23 gram, 333 gram, 150 gram. As we see here, the product here, the product, but in the balance, 300.23 gram to reactant, this flask and this tube. So that 2 and 1 equal 300.23 before reaction equal after reaction, so that the mass of substance 3 equal 300.23. دائما هذه قانون حفظ الكتلة قبل التفاعل وبعد التفاعل نفس الكتلة. فهنا مجموعة 1 زائد 2 أعطتنا 323 جرام، هي نفسها بعد التفاعل يجب أن تكون نفس الكتلة. Which of the following is a balanced chemical equation? لاحظوا هنا هذه المعادلات الثلاث. في هذه الحالة كيف نعرف أن هناك balanced chemical equation؟ عن طريق أن نختبرها ونرى الذرات في الرياكتنت، هذه منطقة المواد المتفاعلة reactant and these products. يجب أن نختبرها ذرة نوع. هنا الكربون في المتفاعلات in the reactant how many? 1 atom. Here how many? carbon 1 carbon إذن equal. The another type H الهيدروجين how many hydrogen here in the reactant? 4. Here how many hydrogen? Also 4. كيف نستطيع أن نحسب الهيدروجين هنا؟ ال H2O هنا هذا الماء تكرر مرتان بسبب وجود الاثنان هنا قبل هذا الكومباوند. فإذا معنى هذا الرقم أن ال H2O تكررت مرتان. H2O زائد H2O معنى ذلك أن ال H هنا 4. إذا هنا متساوية أيضا ال H الهيدروجين. الأكسجين أيضا هنا O2 دائما الأكسجين يأتي على شكل molecules O2. فهذا المولكيولز تكرر مرتان بسبب هذه الاثنان الذي يأتي قبل هذا ال O2. فإذا لدينا O2 بمعنى أنها 4 ذرات أكسجين. Here how many أكسجين؟ هنا 2. يجب أن نجمعها من جميع البرودكت. Here ال O أيضا 2 بسبب وجود هنا أن تكرر الكومباوند مرتان. يعني 2 هنا و2 4. إذا هذه البالانس كيميكال equation. خلينا نرى equation number 2. السي هنا كم؟ 2 لأن CH4 تكرر مرتين. إذا الكربون هنا 2. هي السي هنا 1. سي هنا 1. إذا مباشرة directly not balanced chemical. CH4 plus O2 C1 H, here 4, here 2. That's not balanced, so that's wrong. How does the chemical equation show the law of the conservation of mass? A balanced chemical equation permits each side of the equation to have the same number of each type of atom. The mass of each type of element change during chemical reaction, but the sum remains the same. The mass of the reactants must equal the mass of the products even if the type of elements are different. Which one? The first one, because قلنا قبل قليل يجب أن تكون عدد النمبر لكل type يجب أن تظهر الأنواع في البرودكت and the reactant and الأعداد أيضا تكون نفسها عدد number of the atoms. Choose the correct answer. 2C plus O2. 2 here in the blue color is coefficient, subscript, number of the electrons. What's the mean? This 2, that means coefficient وهي عدد الatoms, the number of atom. كم مرة تتكرر? How many times? The surrounding space in an exothermic reaction get colder, get warmer, stay the same. Get warmer. What's the meaning? exothermic and endothermic تحدث فيها الطاقة، سواء كان اكتساب للطاقة في بداية التفاعل أو إطلاق طاقة في نهاية التفاعل. ولكن إذا كانت إطلاق الطاقة في نهاية التفاعل أكثر من سحب الطاقة نسميه exothermic، والعكس صحيح في الاندوثيرميك. Endothermic reactions, does the breaking of the chemical bonds require more energy than is released when the products are formed? No, it needs more. Yes, no, it takes the same amount. Answer endothermic. Yes, that means endothermic reaction. فهي تحتاج require more energy in the reactant في البداية. طبعا هذه الطاقة التي نحتاجها في البداية لتكسير to breaking the chemical bonds، حتى نكسر الروابط. ما معنى أصلا تفاعل كيميائي؟ تكسير روابط ثم تكوين روابط جديدة. Combustion is an endothermic reaction or exothermic reaction or in exothermic physical change. What's the meaning? exothermic reaction هذا معناه الاحتراق. نلاحظ الاحتراق أن هناك حرارة تنبعث بعد عملية الاحتراق كاحتراق الورق، احتراق الخشب، نشعر بحرارة، لذلك نقول أنه exothermic reactions. Which of following compounds is made of 3 atoms? NH3, CO2, CH4. You must count how many atoms. N1 atoms, H3, 3 plus 1, 4. Then this is not correct. CO2, C, how many atom? 1 atom. O, 2 atoms, 2 plus 1, 3. This is correct. CO2. A beaker containing an unknown substance was boiling at 78 Celsius at temperature higher than 78 Celsius. It will be gas, liquid and gas. What happened in boiling? Gas, because in the boiling from a liquid to gas. Which statement is true about chemical change? Atoms rearrange and form a new bond and new substance. Same atoms change their properties to form new products. New atoms are created in the reaction to form new products. What is true? Atoms rearrange and form a new bond and new substance. هذا التفاعل الكيميائي، هذا معناه أو التغير الكيميائي هي عبارة عن إعادة تكوين الأتومز أو الذرات عن طريق تركيب بونز، روابط، بطريقة جديدة. Where do the reactants are written in chemical equations? On the left, on the right, in the middle? Reactant in the left. If the products are not equal to the reactants in the chemical equations, what do we put to make the products equal to reactants? Subscript, coefficient, new substance, coefficient. وهذا الرقم الذي يوضع قبل المركب في المعادلة الكيميائية حتى يعطينا توازن بين المتفاعلات reactants والبرودكتس النواتج. What is ours? Are deposits of oil that are large enough to be drilled for a profit. للتنقيب عنها. Are natural resources that are being used up faster than they can be replaced by natural processes. Or the deposits of minerals that are large enough to be mined for a profit. The answer is the deposit of minerals, not only oil here, not only oil of minerals, بحيث تكون كافية للتنقيب عنها. إذا كانت بكميات قليلة لا يؤخذ بها تجاريا لا تعتبر هي مواد خام. What are the uses of the land resources? People use land resources to grow food and to live on the land. There is no uses. People use land resources for grazing animals. There are two answers, the first and the third. What is the groundwater overdraft? The measure of water's ability to flow through sediment and rocks. هل هي تقيس قدرتها على التدفق هذه المياه عبر الروكس or amount of pore space in a material or كمية المسامات. The process where groundwater is removed from an underground water source faster than it can be replaced or إنها هي عملية تعمل على إزالة هذه المياه أو ضخ المياه أكثر مما قبل أن تتكون مرة أخرى. What happens if we overpump groundwater? Overpump هنا يعني الإفراط في ضخ المياه الجوفية. The amount of fresh water will increase. Salt water will mix with fresh water or fresh water will be healthier. The answer is salt water will mix with fresh water. لذلك نقول أن عدم الإفراط بضخ المياه بشكل كبير وجعلها كميات قليلة في باطن الأرض هذا يؤدي إلى أنها تتضرر وتؤدي إلى الضرر للمياه الجوفية. The energy is not created and energy is not destroyed. That law of conservation of energy, conservation of mass, natural. That is conservation of energy. What type is photosynthesis reaction? Exothermic reaction or endothermic reaction? The answer is endothermic reaction لأنها تمتص absorb الطاقة الضوئية من الشمس. Noor poured vinegar into a cup and recorded the initial temperature of vinegar as 25 Celsius. Then she added baking soda and dissolved and bubbles to form. She noticed the temperature was changes to 14 Celsius. What type is this reaction? Exothermic reaction or endothermic reaction? The answer is endothermic reaction because the temperature changed from 25 to 14. أصبح طبعا الأكثر في التفاعل الحرارة هي كانت أكثر في المتفاعلات in the reactant لذلك هي endothermic.